all in all, because all is related to everything else, and everything is part of the all. A weekly space on Oneness Talk Radio to explore topics of interest for our whole being: holism, health and well-being, philosophical questions and ideas for our times, and much more. All in all with Silvana Spano, therapist, holistic health coach, healer, and teacher. Good evening, beautiful people, and thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of All in All. I am Silvana Spano, and I am so excited to be here with you today. This program has been in the making for a couple of years, in that the vision came to me a while back, but it had to wait until we met the amazing people who created Oneness Talk Radio, Kira and Shri, for it to take shape and manifest and finally become a reality today, right now. So welcome everyone. Through All in All and its counterpart program in Spanish, Todo and Todo, I intend to provide a space where important topics are discussed in a way that promotes our thoughtfulness, our presence, our responsibility, and our true power. In today's program, being the very first one, I'd like to outline the principles we're going to go by. I'm also going to give you previews of some of our upcoming episodes to get you excited about tuning into All in All for just 30 minutes every week. And I'm going to share a bit more about myself so that you get to know me, know where I'm coming from, and decide if our journeys can enhance each other. I hope so. But before I get into all that, I wanted to say thank you so much to this community for the warm welcome that you gave me during Kira's program last month when she interviewed me in Soul Mirrors. That day, I really connected with the heart of this circle around the world, and I felt so grateful to be joining a tribe that is as open and loving and ready to receive and give as you are. So thank you so much for the little notes on the chat line, the email messages, and the sign-ups to my mailing list. And then after that, we had the chance to join Shri and Kira's last retreat for a few days, where we met some of you in person and absolutely basked in the energy of unconditional love, acceptance of each other, and openness that I had already felt on my first direct contact with the group. In fact, the level of recognition that both myself and Patrick, my partner and colleague, both felt left us in tears of joy and gratitude several times. The retreat itself had so many highlights that I would love to share with you from my perspective, but maybe some other time. Now, before I get into the guiding principles that I go by and that All in All will go by, I apologize in advance if you ever hear any background noise every now and then. I live in the city of Cuenca in Ecuador, and as great as it is in many ways, it's just like any other noisy city. And I do my best to create a quiet space, but it's certainly nothing like Tosa, Blue Mountain, the absolute oasis that Shri and Kira have built in the Valley of Paute, about an hour to hour and a half outside of Cuenca. So getting back to All in All, I am going to share the 3 guiding principles that I am committed to going by outside of this program and on this program. The first one is integrity. That is the pursuit of truth as a way of life within and outside oneself, even when it may sometimes conflict with our personal preferences, beliefs, or allegiances. I really do believe that the truth will set us free. And that even though truth can be uncomfortable and even painful, in the end, it doesn't hurt us. Lack of truth, on the other hand, does hurt us. And that's why integrity is my first principle. The second one is discernment. By discernment, I mean the mature navigation of our world, personally and collectively, to try and minimize the many pitfalls in our surroundings, that is, inner and outer surroundings, and maximize our chances of truly connecting with truth and goodness. And the third one is integration. So once we've spotted truth, anywhere it may be, the objective is to open-mindedly incorporate it to our perspective, keeping in mind that truth, even bits and pieces of truth, can be found in odd and incongruent places sometimes, but that is still really important to identify it and integrate it. Now, if this is still a bit abstract, don't worry about it, as we could dedicate one program to the three principles or even one program to each principle. As you will hear in a few minutes, when I tell you about what I plan to cover, you will see that I already have a long list of subjects to explore in the episodes, but I am also very open to your suggestions based on your interests and your needs. We will have fun in the process and engage our minds, hearts, and our whole beings. Okay, so where do I even start to tell you about my scopes of interest and what I plan to cover in all? We are going to do it this way. We will have 4 different series or categories of programs, and each program will fit into one of them. So the names of the series are Holistic Wellness, Expand Your Being, Reality Check, and Good Technologies. So that's 4 distinct categories, even though they will, of course, overlap, as all is related to everything else. But for the purpose of getting organized, each weekly program will go into one of our collections or series. So let's see. The Holistic Wellness series will be dedicated to exploring one or more aspects of health and well-being, including the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the psycho-spiritual, the energetic, the social, and more. The Expand Your Being series will focus on progressive ideas and philosophical explorations for our times. And for that, I will be interviewing some amazing people, digging into information from across time, from across our world, from across dimensions. And the reason I called it Expand Your Being is because I'm hoping that considering all of these things will not just expand our minds, but also our hearts, our spirits, and our whole beings. The Reality Check series will explore uncomfortable truths and dilemmas in our lives and how to navigate them inside and out in the best way possible. And the Good Technology series will discuss and consider non-harmful innovations for the 21st century, technology that supports nature, technology that supports life. So as you can see, with these 4 series or categories, we can pretty much talk about anything in the whole universe and its relationships to everything else. All in all. Todo en todo. And the way it will work is that I will simply announce every time which series each program falls under. Now, when it comes to the sources of information for the program, we will tap into far and wide sources, including the following: inner reflection, inter and intra-personal dialogue, direct and indirect inspiration, interviews with different community members who uphold the guiding principles of All in All, exploration of ideas exposed in books, articles, other radio programs, videos, movies, events, etc. And last but not least, as I said before, I hope to receive suggestions from my listeners on topics that they would like to see explored in these radio programs. So please go ahead and send your ideas, and I will put them on the list of subjects to talk about. Next, what is the objective? Why talk about all these things? Well, the objective of All in All and Todo is to contribute to oneness by being a forum of respectful and inclusive, but carefully discerning dialogue. It is also to act as a linguistic and cultural bridge between the English-speaking and the Spanish-speaking worlds. And of course, to facilitate the exploration of relevant topics to the audience of All in All. So I will now give you previews to all the episodes to the end of October. That's a total of 5 for this month. So there's the current one, the first episode, obviously an introduction to the program, to its principles, to its guidelines and ideas, and a little bit about myself. This one doesn't actually fall into any particular category, but as of the second episode, we will start putting them under our collections. And so the next one will be on what I call true holism. It will be part of the Expand Your Being series because we will be talking about holism as a philosophical perspective. Of course, Patrick and I live holism in our work and in our lives as much as possible, and the Holistic Wellness series will illustrate many of the applications of holism. But this second episode, that will be part of the Expand Your Being series, and I'm calling True Holism, will be much more focused on the concepts, the philosophy, the foundations of holism. Then, after that, the following 3 episodes will fall under the category of the Holistic Wellness series. Let's see the titles. Episode number 3 will focus on our perception of safety, which is so challenged these days. Why are so many people so anxious? Why is there such an epidemic of adrenal fatigue? What are the implications for the body, mind, and spirit? And how can we help ourselves in these times that trigger hypervigilance, insecurity, and anxiety? The 4th episode will be on cognitive health. Now, cognitive health is one of our specialties in our holistic wellness practice. Since coming down to South America and working with seniors from all over the world, a lot of them living here, we have become very interested and very involved in supporting our clients to preserve and to recover their cognitive health. So we're going to talk about how that can be done and how people can live long lives with excellent brain health along with physical health, because they're not separate. In fact, not at all, as everything is related to everything else, including in our bodies, as well as between our physical body and our subtle bodies. In our mind, which is not even as localized as scientists thought before, but is instead a field of information that we access well when we have a healthy brain. And this will be only the first of many interviews and conversations with Patrick Cody for All in All. Patrick is such a wealth of information about natural health and holistic health, and I know that you will greatly appreciate his perspective and knowledge on many, many subjects. The fifth episode, and the last one that I will preview here today, will focus on adrenal fatigue. Is it real, and how can it possibly be so widespread? We'll discuss stress from every level: physical, emotional, cognitive, social, and how it impacts our adrenal glands. We'll talk about the symptoms. We'll talk about how adrenal health relates to other aspects of our health. And we'll talk about some blood tests that, together with symptoms, can be used to figure out what's going on with one's adrenal health. So there you go. Those are 4 more episodes of All in All after this one to look forward to. And there are so many fascinating subjects on my list, which I will prioritize depending on the relevance and urgency of the topic, the availability of people I'd like to interview, etc. Okay, so now I will take a few minutes to tell you a bit more about myself. And after that, I'll talk more about what Patrick and I do in our international holistic health coaching and counseling practice. As you may have read online already, I was born in Argentina, where I grew up. And I moved to Canada at the age of 17 in July of 1982, to be precise. Then I lived in Canada for 30 years, most of my life, during which I went to school, I worked, I got married, I had 2 amazing daughters. Eventually I got divorced, put my life back together, went back to school, changed careers. That's right, I used to be a library technician. My first career was in library science, which I still very much use. The research skills come in really handy every day. I love books, I love articles, I love researching, I love learning, and I do that every single day of my life. But as you know, I went back to school. In my 30s, I went back to school and went into psychology. And I was super lucky that towards the end of my master's program, I had the opportunity of merging my mainly academic Western training in health and healing with holism, more specifically with the Mayan tradition. So the Adler School of Professional Psychology, where I was doing my master's, approved for me to go to Guatemala on a long field trip and do my thesis research, where I integrated my understanding of Western health and healing with the indigenous Mayan tradition. And holism was a central theme in this research, as it's such a basic philosophy in the indigenous approach, not just to healing, but to life. By then, I had taken several different courses and training programs in different healing modalities, some more hands-on, some purely energetic. So, of course, I had a great interest in doing this. I applied to the school, I got approved, and off I went to Guatemala on several trips that lasted up to 6 months at a time. During my travels to Guatemala, I also did an apprenticeship with a Mayan healer, a curandera, or traditional healer. So I did both at the same time, the research and the apprenticeship. During that period of my life, I did a lot of other traveling. I learned and explored, and I met Patrick in 2008. Together, we left Canada in 2011. Headed for South America on a grand adventure, and after a few turns on the road in the last 8 years, here I am in Ecuador talking to you tonight. So there's the 54 years of my life in a nutshell. In terms of my current work, I have 2 degrees in psychology, a body of research work and thesis, as I was explaining, that integrates psychology with holistic health and wellness, and many courses, certificates, and direct experiences that taught me about the many aspects of our health and our being, not just our well-being. I work as a therapist and holistic health coach. I do it both online from wherever I am in the world, mostly from here in Ecuador these days. I am passionate about what I do. I am passionate about supporting health, particularly as a state of being that allows each one of us to find our true path and stay on path. There's no doubt that health and well-being are amazing in their own right, so that we can enjoy simply being, appreciate the beauty of creation, realize that life is a miracle, be present in our hearts, minds, and bodies all at once. But at the same time, health and well-being are really important to attain and maintain so that we can dedicate our energy and attention to our callings, to our passions, to our missions that we were all born to follow and fulfill for our soul's journey and for the collective journey that we are on. So in order to do that, I work as holistically as possible with my clients, paying attention to the body, the heart, the mind, the spirit. Because if we leave any of them out, the whole cannot be supported or sustained. That's the thing. So in honor of this reality, I am going to dedicate next week's full program to holism, or as I like to call it, true holism. And I hope that you tune into that. Now, in the next few minutes, I am going to give you a more complete overview of our international holistic health practice. So we're holistic health coaches who support our clients with a wide range of health issues. And I am also a therapist, a counselor. Our approach includes nutrition, detoxification, healthy lifestyle, emotional well-being, among other things. Our methods are coaching, counseling, lifestyle modifications, and progressive technologies that facilitate fast healing. When we see our clients in person, we have several hands-on techniques that we can apply. But when we work with our clients long distance, we're often the coordinators of their recovery plan. And we can also make recommendations, if necessary, for people to seek specific treatments on the ground, wherever they live. So here are some examples of what we cover or work with, keeping in mind that some we can only do in person, but we can recommend that you find other practitioners to do that piece where you live. And we can still guide you and help you hold the big picture in your health recovery or prevention. So very quickly and in a nutshell, the list includes holistic health coaching, including nutrition, detoxification, lifestyle, etc., anti-aging strategies, root cause evaluations of autoimmune and inflammatory conditions, cognitive health recovery and prevention of cognitive decline, functional blood chemistry analysis, which we're going to dedicate a whole episode to very soon, life coaching, counseling and psychotherapy, emotional freedom technique, other techniques from the field of energy psychology, trauma recovery support, as well as lectures, courses, and other educational programs that we teach in person and online. And in terms of good technologies that we either apply or give our clients access to, I'll give you some examples here, but know that the list is not exhaustive. So, near infrared, laser, in quotation marks, technology applications that Jim, Kira, and Shree's friends from Epoch Lasers brought to us down here in Ecuador a few weeks ago. Biophotomodulation devices for home use to speed up healing. Biomagnetic pair therapy, microcurrent applications, pulsed electromagnetic field technology applications, Hilda Clark type zappers, and many other different types of good technological devices, some of them for home use, that support life and support healing, and that we make available to our clients one way or another. But the most important message I'd like you to hear is that more than anything else, we educate. We teach and train and guide people to take responsibility for their own health. Whenever people work with us, we guide them step by step and hold their hands, yes, but ultimately, we are constantly encouraging them to empower themselves, to listen to their bodies, to figure out what their bodies and their whole beings really need, and to become experts on their own health and well-being. In closing today, I'd like to remind you that if you want to communicate with me or register for a private session, you can email me at info@globalwellness.solutions. So that's info@globalwellness.solutions. Last but not least, we have special introductory offers for this community happening right now. Check the images on the right side of the All in All page within the Oneness Talk Radio website, and you'll see what I mean. The offers will vary at different times, but you can always see what's posted there to take advantage of any packages or specials that we currently have. And so you know, the rates that you can access for our work through All in All, Antri and Kira's community, will always be lower compared to what is posted in our online store. These offers apply to Global Wellness Solutions, our practice. That means me as well as Patrick. For the men or the men in your life, if you are a woman, they may be more comfortable with a male health coach, and Patrick would be an awesome fit. So having said that, we are coming to the end of episode number 1 of All in All. Have a wonderful week ahead, and I will continue next time. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and stay connected to your whole being, which is a beautiful, powerful, intrinsic, and even indispensable part of the all. So good night or good day, depending on when you're listening or from where, and many good things to all. Thank you for listening to today's program. I wish you a week ahead filled with blessings for your body, heart, and soul, and hope that you tune into All in All next time. If you're bilingual or learning Spanish, I invite you to stay on and listen to the Spanish version of this episode. Coming up next, ciao!